did Adam and Eve have superpowers?
Well, Adam had superpowers, for sure.
Do you think it could have been a little bit like how Superman, how he's on kryptonite, but he comes to Earth and it's a different atmosphere?
No, yeah,
and he has
yeah,
powers
100%.
Here's this.
Gods.
Where does Superman get his power from?
The sun. The sun.
Where did Adam eat and Eve eat the tree of life?
Or did Superman eat? At the house. Welcome back to the Faith Gate podcast. Today's episode, we'll be talking about Adam and Eve. And one of the main questions that's asked about Adam and Eve a lot is, did Adam and Eve, or just Adam, have superpowers? What do you think?
Well, that's not bad.
Oh. So we got two sinners over here eating from the
Tree of life?
tree of knowledge and good and evil.
Well, we don't know what kind of fruit it was, do we?
Yeah, we don't.
It
It never says apple specifically.
It could be a strawberry. It could be what you're eating. It could be a pear.
That's it.
Could
Right
be
there.
It could be a fruit that we don't even know because it was in paradise. Maybe it was a new fruit.
Manna?
Oh, a fruit that we don't have now?
Was it manna? Angel
Oh.
food?
Hey. No, because it's the tree of knowledge of good and evil was actually an actual fruit. The tree of life was also a fruit tree, and it can't be manna because manna was actually
Did it ever describe like what the texture? And
it's
what
just a
manna was?
fruit. Oh, manna?
Yeah.
You want to talk about manna?
Well, just just quickly answer.
Hey,
it,
that
you
could
know?
be another podcast.
That could be one
Because
for another day.
in the book of Psalms, it says that manna is the food of the angels.
Yeah.
Which is
That's
crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
Anyway, are you gonna keep eating that?
No, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Whoa.
What do you do with it, John? You're gonna set it there. Eat an apple. There it is.
There it is.
All right, here we go.
No, I was going to say, it had to have been a fruit, though, right, that we know of? You don't think?
Well, we could take it. Let's take it that way. That it was a fruit, because the Bible records that it was a garden, and God provided in the garden a lot of fruit-bearing trees.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
vegetable.
No, it was a tree.
It could have been a jalapeno.
It's kind of hot
Or
one too.
jalapeno
That thing is a
It could
vegetable.
have been a ghost pepper. Who knows, bro? Who knows?
It could have been anything, but
Yeah, but it was a fruit from the tree, and there was two trees that we know of. In addition to in the garden, there's a lot of trees that the Bible does record that the garden had fruit bearing trees, so they ate out of a lot of the trees that were there. But there was two trees that were out in the midst of the garden, in the center or probably somewhere in the garden in the midst. The one tree that they were not supposed to eat of is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The other tree was the tree of life. That one they did partake in.
They did eat.
Yeah, they did eat.
I have a question. Okay, so how did the garden scene look? Because maybe some people don't like. What is the Garden of Eden? You know, maybe some people don't know.
Sure.
Like what it was.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a garden, but what's more to it? Because I know there's a rivers. There's a mountain that God was on.
Well, yeah, there's certain places it does talk about that, but it does. It says that the garden was in Eden. So most of the time we say, the Garden of Eden, which is good, which is fine.
Yeah.
But Eden is a huge landmass. Think about Eden like the state of Washington. It was huge. And the garden was in the east of Eden. So it was planted east of Eden, and that's what it was. So the land Eden
Was almost like a country, but like a small country or like just
it was an area.
Like an
Yeah,
area.
exactly. I don't want to say a state or something because they didn't have states back then, but it was part of like huge land area.
and the garden was just a garden in Eden.
Yeah,
That was-
in
that was where
that
God-
area,
where
but
God
it was,
resides.
but it did have boundaries. It was in the
Yeah.
east of Eden.
And notice how east is on the right side, and that's where God is. Jesus sits on the right side of God on the throne. East, right? I don't know. I just put that together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do know that it was in the east of Eden, the garden, and we also know that in the garden, we normally picture gardens like we have here.
Luscious, nice.
Yeah,
gardens
and there is,
full of fruit.
and I'm pretty sure there was trees and stuff. And I'm think more of a like an Amazon kind of rainforest, but a lot of fruit bearing trees. Animals were there because the Bible does say that Adam had named every animal.
Yeah, he did.
He named every animal. So it was like, so he did all that. So that's
Which,
we can.
what language did Adam speak? Because he's naming them, and like, what did he say? He obviously didn't say
we don't know. Actually,
tiger, lion.
Well, maybe he named them in all languages.
What do you mean?
Does that make sense?
You know, I just wonder
Wait,
that.
there's only one language.
What language
Yeah.
did he speak?
Because
at that
the
time?
the division of language happened in the Tower of Babel.
Yeah, I wonder
Oh,
what
okay,
language they
true.
spoke. Is that even talked about? I don't think that's
It
talked about.
doesn't. It
Doesn't say.
doesn't. I don't know if we go back that far. I know.
It's so interesting, actually.
You know, it was written in Hebrew. We know Moses,
Do you
one of the
think- is that
authors
the-
of
is that-
one of the
do you think
authors of
that's
Genesis
the
wrote in
original-
Hebrew,
the
but we
original
don't know
language?
if that was the original. See,
Do you think that's the original language that he spoke?
I don't know. It might be like a derivative of
Yeah,
it
like
because language
Yeah.
changes in time through time.
True.
You know, by time in the times of Moses, you're talking about the year 1500 BC, and Adam and Eve, you're talking about almost 6,000. You're talking about almost 4,000 years,
Yeah.
3,500 years before that. And here's another thing. Here's another question. How long was Adam and Eve in the garden? Because time did not exist. Well, days existed,
right? Because it took 7 days
Yeah,
to.
but Adam and Eve's time clock, as in birthdays and stuff, you know, for
That
them it
wasn't a
didn't
thing
really
because
Yeah.
there was no time for them. Like, okay, now I'm 1 year old too, you know, now I'm at 900, now I'm 1,000. For
Yeah.
them, there was no time because they were eternal.
Yeah.
because
they
they didn't have a time till they ate from the apple. They ate from the tree.
Yeah.
That's when sin.
Or when they
entered.
did not, when they stopped
Yeah.
eating from the tree of life.
But
Yeah.
when they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, that's when sin entered, and that's when they started to decay. And
So do you think they?
God
if,
said you would be like the dust, or
if there was no
go back to dust.
time for them, do you think they were eternally young, or eternally whatever age they were created?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because they weren't created as babies.
Yeah, so they didn't. So here, that's a good question. Did they get
Yeah.
old? Like, did they age, but not to death? Did not, you know, they could be like
Yeah. Did they get
900
old and
years old
gray
in
and
Eden,
Yeah.
but they're still gonna live forever.
Yeah.
Was there an aging process? It doesn't say.
Probably not. Probably just.
Because the aging, isn't aging part of aging, wrinkle, gray stuff? That's more of it, like you said, Aiden, decay. It's your body
Yeah.
kind of decaying, getting older, right? Getting more feeble
Mm.
and stuff like that.
And then,
So,
and then gravity pulls down on you, and you start losing your height, and you're
all that stuff.
Here's another thing that I've always thought about the garden and during that time period, was the oxygen levels different, and was the atmosphere, the earth, and just the earth in general different, and did that cause for Adam and Eve and even their kids and offspring, and you know, because they lived for a long time. So in order to live for a long time, I don't know, I feel like your body has to just work differently, and maybe that happened because of the way the earth was. It was different. Maybe the atmosphere was different. They had more oxygen, so they were able to maybe run faster. Maybe I don't know.
I'll tell you what.
I know it didn't say that, but like they lived a long time. Like, how do you explain that?
Well,
Adam had superpowers, for sure, 100%.
You know what? Do you think it could have been a little bit like how Superman, how he's on Kryptonite, but he comes to Earth and it's a different atmosphere?
No, yeah,
and he has
yeah,
powers because of it?
100%.
And like, could it have been like before the bite of the apple?
Yeah.
Like that's how it was
The
for
apple
Adam
is-
and Eve.
or the fruit is his kryptonite.
The fruit was his kryptonite. And it, like, I mean, it's cool to think about. It's cool to theorize
Yeah.
about. Like,
I like that. You know why?
Why?
Because what's Superman's real name?
Kal-El,
Clark Kent or Kal-El.
Kal-El. El
Oh.
is God.
Yeah.
Kal-El.
Ah.
Elohim.
And yeah,
Whoa, hold
and
on, hold
it
on.
comes, and his dad's name is what? Jor-El.
Jor-El. Yeah.
They're all elves. All of the
All their elves.
Kryptonians
The
are
house
elves.
of El.
They're gods.
Here's this.
They're gods
Where does Superman get his power from?
from the
The
sun.
sun.
From the sun,
What is God? Light.
light.
Wow.
Where did he eat? Where did Adam eat and Eve eat? The tree of life. Light. And
Where did Superman
life.
eat? At the house.
I know. I'm telling you right now that Adam had superpowers. He was the original Superman. He could run fast, super strength. Think about it. He had to name all the animals. We said that, right? He had to name all the animals.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're naming animals,
You got to catch
There's
up
a
to him.
lot
You got to
everywhere.
catch up to. He has to catch the gazelle,
The cheetah.
the cheetah,
Does he have to
Yeah.
catch him, or did he just go to him?
or they just
Yeah.
hey,
Or they
is it
come
like
to him.
Aquaman? He
They
and the
come to
animals
him.
come to him, right? What was that? The animals come to him.
Wow, God
Well,
did
to
say
no-
you
To
have-
Noah's Ark, God called all the animals to Noah.
True.
God did say take dominion over the earth. It was his. He was Aquaman.
So he was Superman, Aquaman. He's a superhero.
But
Adam is the original superhero.
But did he have powers?
Yeah, he had to.
How?
Think
Why?
about this.
Why?
Think about this. What if he's naming an elephant and it accidentally sits on him?
He dies.
No, he doesn't die.
Why not?
You know what?
He has
But,
super strength.
but then I
Who
like to
said?
think. What
Who
if?
said he
What if?
doesn't?
Well, here's the thing: is it Adam? Here's the thing: is how did God make? Did God make Adam with special powers, or was he just human?
Special powers.
This is what
How? Why? So why do we have special powers?
Because the bite of the apple.
No.
Maybe in God's perfect image, all of humans or whatever had
Yeah.
specific power. I'm not saying that we would have all been superheroes.
I
Anything
don't.
crazy like that.
Yeah, it doesn't
But, like-
mention anything. Okay, I think I know. Here's the thing: is that we don't. I don't know about having special powers, but what I'm saying is that he was human. God made Adam a human being. That's all we know of. So he did. He ate.
Mm-hmm.
Got tired. He
Yeah.
breathed.
Yeah.
If he wasn't careful, he could cut himself. He could bleed. He could bleed to death.
Hey, Superman has all the same things.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Okay, but going back to what I was asking, or my theory, I guess, I don't know, about was the Earth different, and could that have caused superhuman abilities?
That's what I kind of
Like think about this, because the oxygen levels are different, or just the environment. I don't know, and because they were able to live longer, was he able to run faster?
I have heard that some theologians believe that, like, not even joking, some theologians believe that Adam had the ability of flight. But I don't, that's just what,
Well, that's.
I don't know if I believe that, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I have heard that from a pastor before, that theologians believe
I don't
that.
think Adam had wings or anything that he was
No,
floating
no,
like.
no,
I
no.
don't think so. I think Adam.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I'm thinking more about Adam was a human. He was 100% human.
Mm.
The only thing that kept Adam alive, like to live eternal, was because he ate from the tree of life.
So he was just regular like us?
Yes, he pooped. Adam had.
Okay.
You eat. You have to go poop. He was a normal human
I
being.
can see that, yeah, because
He was normal.
He
So
was
what?
human.
Because why
He was
would he make him not human?
Yeah.
So you're saying he was just like us,
He was just like us.
and he had to go name
No
all
sin.
the animals,
No,
do
no.
all that.
Yeah. No. Well, how much time did he have there? He had a lot of time. See, it doesn't say that when God created Adam, how long. It doesn't. God doesn't mention any type of expansive years that he was there. It took him. Now he could have had. Adam could have half his lifetime to name all the animals. It didn't say that he named all the animals before he created Eve. Right? He could have named them when he saw a new species. Oh, I'm going to call you this, and that was like.
Yeah.
But he didn't start naming animals when he was 18. Maybe let's say God created him as a young, an older teenager. Wait, but he can't age. If Adam wasn't aging
That's what I'm
in the
saying.
garden.
That's what I'm saying. That, and how do you explain him naming all the water animals? You have to have
He probably didn't.
super breath holding powers
Yeah.
to swim.
I don't think he
deep.
did. I don't think that one. No, but because then
don't
that means that
think
he
he
has. That means he has to have. See, Adam didn't have gills.
So you don't
hold
think
his
he
breath.
named the water animals?
I didn't. No.
sea animals?
I don't think the Bible talks about it. It says the land animals.
Does it
I
specifically,
think specifically
say land
the
animals?
animals. Yeah, of the field. I believe so.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we
So
can,
did Eve
we can pull
name
that
the
pull
seas?
it up.
Animals,
Huh?
sea creatures?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I
So
don't
we
know.
named the sea animals.
I don't know. I guess we did.
I
Not
don't-
all of them.
I don't like to give us in.
We still do. Hey,
I don't give
no,
us that
but we
credit.
still name a lot of sea animals that we discover.
How do you
we
know
still
they
give them
weren't? How
names.
do you know they weren't named before?
You know.
And we just
Give them a false name.
no, not even that. It's just they're named what we
We want.
think that we named them, but that's just set in stone already. That was out. That's what it was going to be called.
Think about it, bro. Like a shark could have originally been like a saber-toothed tiger.
Okay.
Like,
It could have been something different.
think about it.
But
Yeah.
So I don't. Yeah. Other than Adam having superpowers, I don't think he had the ability. See, here's a good. If Adam and Eve was walking in the garden, and an elephant walked by,
Mm-hmm.
and he was not being careful,
Mm-hmm.
could an elephant trample him or sit on him, and then and then could Adam die? And I'm a firm believer. Yes, he could have. Now, providentially, God protected him, or he was aware of not to die, but because he had lungs, he had a brain. See, here's the thing: is that if Adam will fall down a cliff, well, he's human. He doesn't have bouncing powers, or he's gonna hit the floor. He doesn't bounce back up. He's human. But I firmly believe that God protected him in a way to know for him not to get hurt, or he had knowledge in his head of his surroundings for him not to get himself in a situation like that.
Yeah. So when what does he say? Aiden, you said earlier that Adam was made to conquer,
not conquer,
to have dominion.
Dominion. So do you think the animals also obeyed him?
Well, here's another thing though.
You get what I mean? Also thought of him as something higher than them. Like we understand, we're not to mess with Adam.
I could give you that. I could give you that where he has not. I don't want to say he had like a special relationship with animals and he does a certain call and the animals come like that. But
the animals knew better.
Yeah, the animals knew
because why? Because he ate from the tree of life. Maybe that's why.
Or because the animals instinctively knew that was God's creation, Adam, in the likeness of God, basically, and him given the order to name all the animals instinctively came up to him, or he would just look at him, and then he would walk up to him, and they knew that they were going to be called something, or to have that relationship with animals where,
because there was dangerous animals, lions, tigers, bears.
Well, I don't know, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, John. Yeah. Was there any type of dangerous animals over there? Because in the book of Revelations, it talks about the garden coming back, and the lion and the antelope, or the lion and the lamb, will be together.
So this is another thing.
Is that it's going back?
Yeah. So was the garden like heaven, like paradise, where because God, it said God was in the garden. So because God was resided there, the animals were just they weren't wild. They weren't beasts. They were more like just God's creation, beautiful creation, and they just lived.
Perhaps it was something more docile animals. I don't know. Because the sin was not introduced, sin wasn't there yet. Mm-hmm. So that area there was no chaos. It was perfect. Sin entered, then that's where chaos started to begin, and everything gets disorder begins to happen on earth.
Yeah, when sin entered, well, he ate from the tree of knowledge and good and evil. So when he sinned, he received knowledge. But I don't know. I'm just thinking about that. What type of knowledge did he receive? Because obviously he immediately thought, I'm naked. I got to clothe.
He was aware
myself.
of his nakedness.
So what type of knowledge is that? That's like.
Well, is it a physical nakedness or the more of the guilty? I sinned and I'm naked.
Metaphorically,
it could be both.
I don't think it's. To be honest, I don't really think that they were ashamed of their nakedness because they weren't clothed before. Both of them were not clothed. So now that we bit the apple, now I'm embarrassed. Well, it doesn't even say how long they were they're in the garden. They could have been in the garden for many years together, naked, without sin, but naked. And you don't think Adam was attracted to Eve? Of course he was. Yeah, of course he's a man. He's attracted to Eve. When God created her, his eyes probably like, whoa, what is that? He was attracted to her. So and it doesn't say that they were clothed; they were naked, but they weren't ashamed. So just because they bit the apple, now they're clothed themselves. It's not because now don't look at me because I'm ashamed. In this, you can't see this. Well, I've been seeing this all my life here, basically with you. I think it was more of the guilt. They were trying to cover themselves because God was coming, and they were ashamed of what they did. The sin,
And so, and they feel like, oh man, that's a weird way to think about it. That perspective, that their sin because they ate from the apple, and their sin that it made them feel just like they felt exposed, like everything was out there now, and so they had to cover themselves.
So biting the apple,
they wanted to hide now from God.
They lost. Did Adam lose power? his
He
abilities,
lost his,
his ability, or is it did he biting Adam and Eve by biting that apple? They lost something,
Yeah, definitely.
right? Who else in the Bible went through that?
Samson.
What happened to Samson?
He cut off his hair.
Well, they cut his hair,
cut
they
his
cut
hair off.
it, yeah.
and what happened?
Lost his powers.
Lost his powers, and we know that it wasn't because there was power in the hair. It's like saying there was nothing. Here's my thing. It had nothing to do with the apple. It was disobedience, disobeying God.
Okay.
And on Samson, it had nothing to. There was no special power in the hair. You know, like there was something in the hair that made him strong.
Yeah,
It's
there's nothing
his
about that.
his obedience to God,
His
right?
relationship
His
was-
yes, he's exactly his relationship, and by him breaking that relationship, the departure, separation from God.
Yeah.
That's what happened with Adam and
Wow,
Eve.
and that's
Yeah.
so
The
true.
disobedience.
That's so true, and just in like people and their faith in general.
Yeah.
Being disobedient to God, things can just go down.
Really down. There's no more covering. There's no more like God's providence over you.
Yeah.
There's nothing, you know, and you actually know the more you distance yourself from God, the more
Like in last episode, more spiritual attacks, like demonic attacks.
yeah, and or you feel that you're unaware that what you're doing you should be doing because God's not talking to you anymore.
But then after the fact, you start to feel the shame, and
shame.
the guilt,
Adam
of
and
the
Eve.
metaphorical
Yeah.
Back to Adam and Eve.
nakedness. You start to feel
Nakedness.
the
There you go. I love that. I like that.
metaphorical nakedness. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
yeah.
crazy. That's a crazy thought.
Wow,
to
we
think.
just cooked.
Because if you think about it, they were eating from tree of life
Every day.
24/7.
24/7.
And that was, they didn't care about nakedness. They didn't care about sin. They were just living in that relationship with God, walked with them and talked to them. They were just living with God. And right. So they had no worries.
So-
but the second that they wanted, the second they ate the apple, like, I want to know this knowledge of good and evil. I want to be
Come
like
God.
like God. I want to do this on my own. God said, okay, you can go sow and reap and go in the fields and make your own food now, do this and that.
Yeah, there
You're
you
gonna
go.
die now. Do it yourself, basically. You're alone. You're
You're
without
alone.
me. See how you do it now without me. Is
Yeah.
basically what God said. Leave the garden, figure it out.
That
Yeah.
that's crazy. And it's also
Yeah, be your own God now.
Be your
Go
own-
ahead.
Yeah, be your
think
own-
about it though. What if you were given that option? It's hard not to go for that.
because of pride.
But
and
it's just-
we
Because
we're
it's
already
just
living
like-
It's
in
just a
sin.
lot of struggle.
We're already
Dude.
living in sin.
Struggle and
Yeah.
and it's death.
That's a tough
Struggle and
temptation.
Oh, man.
especially
It's a tough
hard.
temptation
It's
to fight.
especially hard when you're Adam and Eve because you're born, unless they were born like with like the knowledge of like, oh, this is Christ and I'm gonna serve him. But if they weren't and they were just born into like how God created them and they're easily tempted by
I honestly think it was
everything
inevitable.
by knowledge.
Yeah.
That too.
You know, because if God gave them free will, I think it was almost like inevitable that they
It was
that
free
they
will.
were
Yeah.
that
It was
that
obedience. They had free
God
will.
Knew.
Yeah.
I mean, well, obviously, he had to have known they were gonna
Yeah.
turn because he's
See,
he's
here's the
outside of
thing.
time.
God gave
That's why God had Jesus for redemption because he already knew it was gonna happen. So he's like, I know you're gonna separate from me. I know this is gonna happen. So do you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna send Christ because he's
My
gonna
son.
save you.
Yeah.
That is just his plan.
So do you think he gave them starting off an amazing, great?
No, free
run?
will.
No, but hear me out. Do you think he started off giving them everything like I'm gonna give you this, I'm gonna give you this, just so they could realize
Yeah.
after they disobeyed, then all the, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how much they
But
want,
it's still-
How much-
how much they
It's
needed
still
it.
that it's
They
still
needed
God still commanded Adam to he was like the gardener. He still had to take care of Eden. Nothing it was all there.
Yeah.
It was a luscious garden, but he still had to take care of it.
Yeah, but what
You
I'm
have to
saying is,
maintain it.
do you think that how Aiden was saying it was inevitable? So what even my thought process? What's even the point? If it's inevitable, why would you even give him that? I think it was to prove that just don't. You need to listen to me.
Yeah.
There's consequences. You had this, and now you don't have it anymore because you disobeyed.
Yeah,
You get what I mean?
I think it's all about experience too, and just growth, like realizing that we need God, and God
Yeah.
puts us through this test that like we go through these
Yeah.
experiences, and God puts us through this test, and He makes us realize that we need Him in our life.
Well, I think
he-
God
and he shows us
designed
how.
humans, and just like He designed the angelic beings, also to have free will. He did not design us to be robots. He wants us to love him freely.
Mm-hmm.
So
choose-
and
we
and
gotta
and,
choose
and
love.
that's where that's where you have the tree of knowledge of good and evil
Yeah.
and the tree of life. You got to choose. I cannot. I gave you. It's like yes. It's like when you give your child, you tell, don't touch the apple, right?
What are they gonna do?
They're gonna touch the apple.
They're gonna touch it.
Okay, they're gonna touch it.
Yeah.
But it's because I think
But it's
maybe perhaps
inevitable.
God did it on. Not I won't say it on purpose, but He had to.
You had to, because the only way
Because
you learn, the only way you
it-
realize that you need God is by
Yes.
by not having Him. Because if you just have Him,
Just like
every
Job.
day,
Just like Job.
if you have,
You're gonna take it for granted if you just
Yeah.
have him, and you
Well,
know.
You're right. Just you take it for granted, just like Job.
Yeah.
Job had
Wow.
everything provided for him, and the angelic being, Satan or
Yeah,
the Satan
yeah.
said basically, hey, of course he's gonna obey you and
Yeah.
worship you, so because he has everything.
Yeah.
Take everything.
Take it
Take
away.
Take it
from them
away,
and see what
and
happens.
and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Same thing here with Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Of course, but give them the option. Let's see what they do with it,
Yeah.
and they failed.
And
See how
They
faithful he is.
failed.
And I think
Yeah.
that's
They
so
failed.
beautiful that when we don't have God, and I think it's much better that it works better that our relationship with God when we don't have Him, and then when we seek Him for ourselves, that relationship, and we just want to know Him, and then He gives us His portion of the relationship, and now it's like it's love. It's like perfect because we're
You know-
choosing to love Him.
Yeah.
You know?
What's crazy about that is when you say that, you know what that makes me think of is that how hard was it for God to do that to them though?
That was tough.
Wow.
Because it's like a parenting standpoint.
Yeah.
When your
We
kid
don't-
cries, you want to give them something, or
Yeah,
make
yeah.
them stop crying,
Yeah.
or they want something.
That's so true.
You want to give
Yeah.
it to them,
Yeah.
but you have to teach them those lessons.
It
In order
probably
to
hurt him a
grow,
lot.
You
Yeah.
gotta learn.
They
he
have
probably
to
had-
learn the hard
It
way.
probably because God he has emotion, he has feelings. It probably
Yeah.
hurt God a lot
Oh yeah.
to give them that option because I need you to love me freely,
Yeah.
and I know where this is gonna go,
Yeah.
but I still have to do it because I need you to love me freely. I cannot just have it one way where you just love me because
Needs to be
you don't
real.
know
Needs to
anything
be
else.
real.
Has to be real. You got to make a choice.
So
'Cause,
I mean,
that's
I
what
mean,
love is.
man.
I guess you can relate because you're the only parent here. But I feel even not
Well,
being a parent,
even
I
not
feel
parent,
like that's
Like,
just such a hard thing to do.
Yeah, think about it this way. And I think what God did by making us go through that is God made that choice too. So He did that out of love. If God didn't make us go through that whole experience and have us choose Him, He would be acting out of selfishness. It's love for Him to let us go and learn that we
There
can.
is a biblical
That's love.
passage that God is a creator of good and evil. It does say that. If you Google it, Eric, Google that, and there's a scripture that says that God is a creator of good and evil. Now, to what extent? It's probably another different topic,
Yeah.
but it does mention that. Now, here's another question. We know that God created Adam, right?
Yes.
But Adam, here's this. Every time God created something, the moon, the stars, the planets, everything was right, and it was good. They won, and it was good, and it was good, and it was good. Everything, animals, plants, trees, everything. It was good. It was good. And on the seventh day, he created humans, right? And it was good, right? And then he rested. And then it goes back and tells on I believe chapter 3, it retells this how he made humans. He makes Adam, right? The only time that God said that this is not good is when he made Adam and he was alone. And it's not good for man to be alone. Everything else was good. The first time that God says it's not good was when Adam was alone.
Wow.
So he had to make a partner or a helper, right? So here's the thing. I know, Eve was specially designed.
Oh, specifically for him.
No, check
Wow.
this
His
out.
type.
There's no. Hey, you guys. I didn't notice this before. But it says, and Eric, if you could pull Genesis, let's see, Adam. Yeah, Genesis 2:7, please. Let's look at the verses. And it's basically the creation of Adam. Okay, and there's a key words there. It says Genesis 2:7 says, then the Lord, is that ESV, Eric?
That's no, it's NIV.
Yeah, go to
It's
ESV.
fine. It's fine. NIV is fine.
NIV is perfect. NIV is perfect.
Okay. Then the Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. Now, the key word here is then the Lord formed man. That word formed, okay? There's a lot of references where in the biblical passages in different stories they use that formed. The majority of the time is when like a potter and clay. And we know God took from the ground and he made Adam. He formed Adam. Yeah. And that word form is used a lot where people like potter and clay and sculpting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's what that word, a lot of that that word is used for.
In its original text?
In its original text in Hebrew. So when you get into like, the passage about the potter and you are the clay, I'm the potter, and in Isaiah, that's the word is and God informed. Formed is like sculpting, making something. Making something, right. Okay. Now, Eric, let's go into 2:22 in the same chapter. Go to the creation of Eve.
Okay.
It says, "Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib he had taken out of the man, and he brought her to the man." Ooh, that's cool. He brought her to the man. Here you go as a present, right? Whoa. No. Then the Lord God made, not formed, made. And in the original text, in the Hebrew, that word is, they use that, that word made is used, and 3/4 of the time is used to build, design, building altars, building cities. Eve was not formed. God had a special, he built Eve.
Yeah.
Specifics with detail.
Yeah.
Adam was no detail. I just formed him.
So
with Eve, he had more time. He took the rib. We don't know if he's actually on actual
built
rib
from the rib, though.
or
Made
from the rib,
from the
or
rib.
perhaps the genetic code.
Yeah.
He got the genetic code, and God sat down. I'm just imagining where God sitting down and genetically making a woman.
Yeah.
All her body parts, the womb, because he knew that from the womb, our Redeemer is going to come out. It has to be this way.
It has to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he made her, every part of her body, he designed it specifically.
Yeah.
And not Adam, but for the woman. She was designed and built for a purpose. The way God made a woman, next time you see a woman, a girl, God built her, designed her that way, and he brought her to Adam.
Yeah.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I'm pretty sure when Adam saw this, he was like, dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think she was hot?
Oh, I'm pretty sure she was probably the
she was pretty
If it's God's first creation, he probably took his time.
No, yeah. No, seriously. Think about that.
No, but actually,
No,
for real.
yeah.
Think about that.
If you wanna get like crazy, he made from Adam's rib. That's his missing piece.
There you go.
Think about that.
When here, I just got a thought of a movie. You know, if you guys, I'm not sure if you've seen that movie, but I know we all seen it. Weird Science.
Yeah.
Oh,
When they make that girl from the doll, right? In the computer, they add the brains and the body and this and that, and they're making her on the computer. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Man, just what God sat down. Okay, I need to make a woman. Let's give her brains. Let's give her body. Let's give her feet. Let's give her eyes. I want this type of eyes. I want make it perfect.
Because isn't it true? No, I don't know.
Perfect.
I don't want to sound like weird, but a woman is physically has more curvature and more looks.
Yeah,
better.
of course.
Looks better.
Well, I don't. Yeah, for us.
I'm just saying.
For us,
I'm just saying.
yeah,
It looks like a woman was designed, and it took more time to make a woman.
And the guys, there's no design in it. The guys are like.
The guys just, I'm just saying.
No, here's the thing about this. I know we can laugh about it. Go, oh, come on, guys, this is not biblical. What are you talking about? God made sexuality. He made the woman. He made the guy. He made the woman with hormones and estrogen, stuff, and guys with testosterone. He made them for a purpose and a reason. It's all perfectly balanced. It's amazing. He did it, for us to have fun with each other in the confines of marriage. But it's what it is to be attracted to one another, to each other. So when God made Adam, Adam saw all the animals, having a fun time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right?
Come
And the animals are procreating, right?
Yeah.
And God said, hey, have kids and fill the earth. That's what God said. Fill the earth, right? But Adam was alone.
Come on.
Oh, I got to design something for you.
Come on.
I got to design. I'm going to give you a special gift.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Now, but Eve is, because Adam was alone, he was not, I want to say he wasn't 100%. When there is a woman, when there's a man and a woman come together, that's the perfect union.
Yeah.
Now they become one. It says one, you're 100%. See, that's what it is. So Adam wasn't 100%. He needed the woman.
Yeah.
Now he makes him whole. Now you're one flesh.
Yep. And that's what Paul says. Our relationship with Christ should be like a marriage between a man and a woman.
Yeah, you become one.
Yeah, you become one.
You can become one. It's amazing. Amazing. So that's the thing I picked up. Like I didn't notice that word for Adam was formed, and for Eve, he made. But those two words in the original Hebrew, two different styles of building or making.
Yeah, the words they use are very specific.
Very specific.
Made is like how you said, he took his time.
See,
sugar,
and
spice, and everything nice.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure. I here's my thing here too. I'm pretty sure God knew Adam's likes.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. If
it.
somehow we could trace the genetics they have all the way down to Adam and Eve, the first one. If they say, well, I looked like Eve could have had the natural curl. Well, perhaps because when Adam was there, he knew he's gonna like curls on her. So he got because that's what Adam liked. I don't know. It's something.
But how would we know that Adam liked anything if there was never there was never a girl to begin with?
He had nothing to base it off.
Animals.
God. No.
Wow, the
animal is really hot. I want that.
No, I honestly think that God, he put that in him, that desire, that want.
Yeah.
When he saw Eve, he knew she was a human. She was a human, and he knew it was a woman. It had different parts. He knew. He saw the animals. He goes, oh, this is a woman. This is female. He liked it.
Yeah.
He liked it.
When he saw the animals, he liked it?
No, not the animals. Not the animals.
Do you think he had the desire before Eve, or do you think after Eve he was like, all right?
I think after.
You think he gave him the desire after?
I think he had it inside, but it wasn't woke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's not get there. But it was missing.
Yeah.
And then when she appeared, something inside, there's a fire burning down below.
Oh yeah.
Dang. So yeah, there was. I think it was inside him. Yeah. But when he saw her, it triggered that emotion, that feelings in him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. It was good. It's good. Here's another thing. Here.
Wow.
Because here's one more thing we could go into, and then we could probably see what we think about. When Adam and Eve disobeyed, they bit the fruit, right?
Yeah.
God does curse Eve,
Yep.
and says, because of what you did, I will increase your birth
labor
pains.
Yeah.
But
increase, or were they?
No,
there
were increase.
So there was always birth pains. He just increased them.
Because she hasn't had Cain Nibble yet.
I think
she hasn't had Cain Nibble yet.
Sorry, you brought up a good point before. That you thought you can imagine that her birth pains was that like an animal, because animals don't look like they're in
much pain
when they're
Perhaps.
giving birth, like a cow or something.
Well,
I don't know.
Here's one
you said
commentary
that
saying is increase your birth pains. It probably doesn't. It's not probably because she's having more agony in birth, but now because of sin, because they're no longer eating from the tree of life, they're outside of the garden. She's gonna give birth to babies, their own kind, the humans, knowing that they're going to die.
Oh.
Their life clock is gonna end, because prior to that, and we don't know. Here's my thing is that how are you going to increase something from nothing?
Yeah.
So did Adam and Eve have children in the garden
beforehand?
Before.
Wow.
Because how can you increase something from
From nothing
I'm
that was
going
there.
to increase
Yeah,
your
I'm gonna
birth pains from increase them
how-
for what? So I already had kids before. It's gonna be worse now.
Yeah. I don't know.
It doesn't mention that.
Or did they already have like a general knowledge of like what
What pain is?
pain is and how,
know.
and they already knew that there'd be birth pains, or even knew there'd be birth pains already.
But she never experienced them, or she perhaps she did experience them. We don't know. Here's another kind of a thought of what people think is that because when Adam and Eve had Cain and Abel, right, and then Cain kills Abel, Cain flees or he just leaves, right, and he goes and finds a wife. Well, where'd she come from?
Yeah.
And he goes out and finds a wife, and it says Cain built a city. How did he build a city? With who?
See, I always thought of that too.
So
Where
who
did
are these
other
people?
Yeah,
coming
where they
from?
come
Okay, now it doesn't say,
Probably
but
missing time because they live for a
Yes.
long time. There's missing time.
yeah, exactly.
So
yeah.
probably Adam and Eve had more children.
I believe they have a lot of children.
That
Probably
had
a
children.
lot,
That had
a
children.
lot.
Aliens.
no, no. I think they had a lot of kids, and it just spread out. And here's my thing. Well, but they're getting married within each other, brothers and sisters having babies. Well, think about it this way. There was no genetic defects, right? That's what I'm thinking. Is like because they're still in their genes are still not. There wasn't a lot of cancer and stuff like that. There's nothing like that yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
intermarrying between siblings or cousins or something, there was no genetic defect. It's when you have genetic defects that you have one defect and another defect get together, that one defect is going to come out, So when you have one defect and it's way back there, that low percentage, it's not going to come out. But if you have no defects and you get married, you have intercourse, sexual relations, right? Nothing's going to happen. There's no mutations, nothing. It's in time, the defects, the mutation, the body decaying of sin, basically of the world in chaos. This is what causes. And then when someone has a genetic defect and that other person has the same genetic defect, and then they have kids, and then that child will have that more prominent of having that cancer or that gene for that, right? I don't know. I'm just talking.
Yeah.
That's why we get is that back then it was allowed. Later on, there's what's that? You're laughing, bro. You're laughing.
Nothing.
Think
It
about
just
something.
sounds disgusting even talking about it.
Yeah.
Well,
I
it
could-
was
no, no,
because
just
because
hear me out, though.
it's because it's a taboo for us now.
I know, but
But back then it wasn't like
but
that.
I could see how someone.
It goes back to something that I always thought about and wondered, like, how come they live so long? I just always thought of that, like, why
because
did they live
of
so long?
because
And I think I know why, but
of the
it's so
genetic
interesting.
defects.
Because
It wasn't.
They live like 500, 600 years
900,
900 years old.
900.
Adam was
Crazy.
930
think about
years
how many
old.
kids you can have and how many just
Lot.
wives and
Yeah.
just so many things you could do. I don't know. And you'd probably be like the way I looked until maybe like the age 300, and then you'd start to be like looking like Eric. And I don't know. It'd
Yeah.
just be weird, huh?
That's kind of like Yoda.
I think we still age.
But then
Would
also,
age.
if they're living out in the world, they're no longer in the garden, and they're slowly aging.
Aging,
They're
yeah.
aging slowly. That has to mean that Earth is different.
Yeah.
It has the oxygen levels are different. Something's different where it's making them not age.
Yeah. Because in time
Something has to be
they,
different. on
they
Earth.
their age decreases. It goes from 900, 700,
so it's
600.
almost like the
just
Earth-
it's a decline of
The Earth
they
is
get-
getting more ugly.
They're getting younger and younger.
I don't know.
That's what, they die younger. Yeah. But at the
Also, have you heard the
I don't-
theory? Have go Evan?
I was gonna say I don't know about that because like, why wouldn't God be able to like change your genetic code or something? Or I mean, if Jesus can remove sickness from or leprosy from a
Yeah.
leper, why can't they like put like, you know what I mean? You get what I'm trying to say? It's
Alter genetics.
alter
Oh,
genetics.
you live less now.
you live less like it, but for everybody, not just
Yeah.
like if God and Jesus and if they can
Perhaps.
remove sickness,
Yeah.
why can't they just add it?
well, here's the thing is that we know that before Noah, their age went from basically from all the way to 900 years old. After the flood, then it was 120 years. That's it. So it could go back what you're saying, Aiden, is that
There's a
because
theory.
of the flood, because of the earth, how different it was after the flood, the oxygen levels and stuff like that. You know,
It got tarnished.
you remember Michael Jackson? He would, there's you know what there's a lot of actors that breathe pure oxygen because they say that it kind of enhances their blood flow and their cells,
they
right?
sell oxygen cans.
Yeah,
and
because
was
for
it me and
aging,
you that did
for
it?
skin stuff like that.
We
Yeah,
tried it. It's not. It didn't do anything crazy.
Yeah, I know.
to
I mean, we also got it from like Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yeah, we got it from the
But,
sporting goods.
Never mind, I
store.
don't even want to bring it up, but
Anyways, there's a theory, and I want to bring up, and it's not about Adam and Eve. It's about in the more Noah times, but it kind of relates to the aging thing. So there's a theory that some people on YouTube talk about this a lot. And anyways, it's about when how in the flood when God flooded the earth, it says He opened the gates or the floodgates of heaven.
Yeah.
Some people think that before back in those times there was an ice kind of around Earth, like an ice like a
canopy?
cap.
I mean,
And
around the atmosphere
basically, yeah, when God flooded the earth, all that water
melted.
melted and went down to earth, and that caused the sun to hit earth harder. Because
Aging.
think about it, the cap was blocking the sun UV rays. What makes you age? The sun and radiation, right?
Maybe
That makes you look
that's
older.
the reason why Antarctica
That's a
they
theory.
have found
That's a theory.
like trees and palm trees in Antarctica because before Earth was probably a lot more tropical than
what if
what we see
Antarctica
now.
is Eden?
Hey,
So yeah, so there
Some
you go,
people-
guys.
some
There you
people
go. There you go.
theorize that too, that
I don't know.
The North Pole is like where Eden is. I don't know.
Yeah, I know there's people that say that. Yeah,
Yeah,
But
anyway.
that's what Adam and Eve, and then here's the question: was like I always wondered, did they have kids in Eden?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they did.
You think, oh man, well, here's the thing: is if they did have kids in Eden, then they would be they would be subject also to disobedience or obey or disobey.
Yeah.
yeah,
Their
from
kids
before,
also.
yeah.
So it's not. I don't want to say. Let's say they had 5 kids in the garden, and then Adam and Eve were there.
They would all have to eat the apple.
They would all have to disobey. Okay, Adam and Eve disobeyed. Well,
They-
then
they would
sooner or
too.
later, these kids
They would
will
too.
make a decision too, make their own choices and disobey. They might not have to bite the apple, might end up just disobeying God.
But it'd be dumb because then
Yeah.
if they saw their parents eat it and then leave, they probably wouldn't want to leave, so they would just stay. So it's like I don't think they did because then they
So,
would
yeah.
have to eat.
Yeah,
So-
it's a good thing because there's a lot of people say that it happened rapidly, like they bit the apple, or God formed man. Maybe Adam was in the garden for a long time, naming all the animals. That he just got sad because man, I want a partner too. That's what God said. Hey, it's not good for a man to be alone. Then he puts him to sleep, right? He makes Eve. Then a few days later, maybe a week later, the apple. Then they get banished.
Another thing too we can talk about
because-
is that Eve is the one who wanted to eat the apple first. Am I right? I'm pretty sure I'm right about that.
Yeah, she ate.
She ate the apple first, and she gave it to Adam. He's like, "Here, eat this." Or
Yeah.
like,
There's the thing is that
Eve was the one who tempted.
yeah. There,
Which again, I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's what I say before is that Eve was deceived by the serpent. Adam sinned knowingly.
Oh, we
There is a
haven't even
difference.
talked about the serpent
Well,
yet.
he's following.
We haven't even thrown in the serpent.
Yeah, he's following his shorty.
Yeah.
Got to.
But basically she was deceived.
Yeah, she
was deceived.
Adam
But
wasn't.
Adam knowingly
Yeah.
sinned. There's a difference. Going back, there's a lot of things that I've always thought in the garden with Adam and Eve. Like there's no one that Adam have a belly button.
Why? Oh,
What?
yeah.
No.
Because he came from no umbilical.
It wouldn't
cord.
make sense.
No,
Yeah.
no. Did Eve have a belly button? No, she didn't have a belly button.
That would have been so
No,
weird.
Okay,
no. People, there's actual models. You know that there's models. There's women, mostly women, that surgically remove their belly button, and it just.
Does it look
No,
good?
they do. They
I don't know.
it doesn't.
Does
It looks
Eric,
weird.
Pull up some pictures.
Oh, it's
Oh,
just.
why?
No,
I don't want to see it.
but no, it's true. They surgically remove the belly button, and it's just nothing there. It's
just a hole?
strange. No,
how do
nothing.
you surgically remove something that is
No.
a hole?
Well, they cover it
they
up and
just
just
put something over. They put
I don't
a
know. They
layer
put
over.
new skin grafts or
Skin,
something.
something.
It's just
Yeah.
not there anymore, dude.
I wonder how that
It's
looks.
weird. It's weird to see
Why?
that.
Why do you want to see that?
I want to see
No,
if it looks good.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Look it up after.
But yeah, so that was a thing that always comes up. Did they have belly buttons?
If they didn't have belly buttons, I've thought about this before. Did it's kind of a weird one. Did Adam have his reproductive organs before Eve, or did God give it to him afterwards?
Ooh.
God had made
Or what
Adam.
was it for?
God.
What was it for if Eve wasn't made?
He had
He
to pee.
knew. He knew.
He had
it
to
was gonna be
pee.
made.
Wow.
He had all.
Why did he have to pee?
He had everything there ready
He was drinking.
because he had to drink water, dude. He would drink water. He was human. He was human.
How
He
do
had to-
girls pee? What
same
if he
way.
just did it that way?
No. He
What if
he
there
had
was just
sexual.
nothing there, is what I'm saying?
Adam had sexual organs.
Yeah.
He designed Adam as a
Made
male.
only to pee.
No, he made him to. God had already planned that he was going to create Eve, but what I'm saying is that those desires did not trigger in Adam until he saw the woman. Just whoa.
Were they married?
I don't think like how we have like what we know as marriage,
yeah.
like ceremony stuff. I don't think
Yeah.
like that, but I think they
Or
were
they're just born into it.
them.
They had
like,
intercourse,
yeah,
yeah.
they were husband and wife. You could say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you make a great point because when God made Eve,
He made it specifically for his,
no,
it's
but
like a
Eve was
puzzle.
but
The
Eve,
pieces fit.
but Eve was created as a woman. She had everything as a woman would now. All her functions as a woman, guess what? They worked.
Yeah.
Did she go through her month? Yes, she went through her monthly things. Yes, she was a woman. No, she couldn't have because what do you mean? What did God design? God designed a woman. God designed Adam as a man. He had everything as a man, and she had everything as a woman. This is what it was.
Okay.
That's why we go back to the original topic that we were talking about. Did they have special powers? I don't think they had special powers. I do think that they were partly. I don't know if it was the actual fruit that gave them substance to live forever, because later on in the New Testament, the tree of life is symbolic of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is that in the garden, the Bible says that they walked in the midst with God. I don't think, here's another topic. It wasn't God the Father. I think it wasn't God the Father. It's called a Christophany. Christophany is like a
Heard that before.
yeah, it's where God himself would transform himself into a human, walked with Adam and Eve. So because they were in the presence of God daily, that's what gave them, and I'm going to give you a gold nugget here. I'm going to give you that's what gave Adam and Eve that living forever, because they were always in communion and fellowship with Jesus or with God, right? Now, guess what? Moses will have communion and be with God almost on a daily basis. When he would go up to the mountain and talk to God face to face, and it says face to face, like a man to man person.
Yeah.
He would come down from the mountain. His face would shine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because he was so much in God's presence. The Bible says that he had to put a cloth over his face so that people couldn't look at Moses anymore, because his face would shine so much. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, Moses died at 120 years old. The Bible says that his strength, his eyesight, his ability to reason was perfect. He didn't die of old age or arthritis, nothing. He was old, but he was still in his right mind. He had all the strength that he had as a young
He was in his prime.
Why?
So do you
Because
think-
he was always in the presence of God.
Being in the presence of God.
No, not now in the presence.
I know,
yeah.
but
yeah,
being in the presence of God essentially is like you're
like giving
giving strength back, and you're like to the original way that God created us. That's before sin, before the apple.
Well, yeah. So like in the garden. So like what I'm saying is that because the tree of life was there, and they were taking from the tree of life, because the Bible does say that when God expelled Adam and Eve, that God had to put a cherubim at the entrance of the garden, so Adam and Eve would not, in their sinful state, go back into the garden and take
They had
take the fruit so they could live forever.
fiery swords. Or
Yeah,
people
So
guarding.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. So I don't think it was an actual. I don't know.
could've
I don't.
been.
It
It
could have
could've
been.
been
It could have been an
both.
actual fruit, but I'm thinking it was more of the presence of God, or perhaps because Eden is God's. The garden is God's temple, His high place. That's where God would come down from wherever He's at, and come down on earth and reign on earth. And His throne, the mountaintop, His throne. The garden was all over the throne, all over the mountain. So it's always God was emanating His presence, presence, and He will walk with Adam. So they were always with God. That made them live forever.
So do you think it was more of a metaphorical fruit? Because they do use
Maybe.
fruit as a metaphor, bear fruit or the fruits of life.
Nice,
They
nice.
use
But
that
also-
very
Yeah.
metaphorically. So do
They
you
do.
think it was the fruit of presence?
I think so.
I feel-
I just don't see like Popeye. You know, yeah, I'm gonna get my strength because I
eat some spinach,
Eat some
yeah.
spinach.
But
I don't think
I
it's
think
like
it
that.
could be both. I think it could have been. Like
It could've
honestly,
been.
it could have been that they're in the garden and they're in God's
And the
presence.
nutrients that
But if they wanted to, I mean, I can imagine there's fruit there too, and then when they eat it,
Yeah.
they feel that same thing. Because I bet they want to feel that physically, because we're humans and we like to feel things physically.
that's true too.
Well, here,
instead of always spiritual.
yeah.
That's true
Well,
too.
and
I'm sure it wasn't bad.
in the new heavens and new earth, when we see the new Jerusalem in the book of Revelations come down from heaven, come down to earth, right? It does say that out of the throne of God, the river's going to flow. Out of the throne of God, out of the Lamb of God, which is Christ, there's going to be a river. And it says that on both sides of the river are going to be the tree of life. Two sides. And the tree of life is going to give fruit, their leaves, fruit. And the people of the nations on the world, okay, not us, we're there, but the people that are there, they have to come from all over the nations and come and take part of that fruit for the healing of nations. Okay? So, but symbolically, Jesus has always been that tree of life, that manna of heaven. He says, I am the manna of heaven. I am the tree of life.
Vine and you're the
I'm the,
branches.
yeah. So what I'm saying is that, what I'm thinking is that Jesus sits on the throne, and because we're in communion with Him, fellowship with Him, in obedience, we live forever like Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
In the New Jerusalem, Jesus is reigning on earth, right? And you got the new city, and He's going to be the tree of life. His presence, His eminence, he gives off life. People will come to do a pilgrimage to Jerusalem, or the new Jerusalem, and by getting close and being fellowship with God Himself, Jesus Christ, their illnesses and their feebleness will just go away. God will heal them because they come to Jesus.
Yeah.
So back to Adam and Eve. I don't know if it was an actual fruit. It could be an actual fruit, or that tree of life. Perhaps it was symbolic. That it was Jesus Christ.
It could have been
Walking,
both.
yeah.
Too.
Here's
It
the last
could have been a
question.
physical and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one last question. Okay, why was a serpent in the garden? Why was a serpent? Was there a serpent
He
in the
had a
garden?
mission.
Why this
No,
could be the
he had no
closing
mission.
little thing we talk about. Why was a serpent in the garden? God put the serpent. There's a
Well,
reason why there was. The
You
serpent
don't think
was
he had a
there.
mission?
Oh no! Here's the thing. Here's the thing on the
You can
garden.
speak.
The garden.
Do you think
The
all
garden was God's. The Garden of Eden was God's temple on earth. Everywhere you see temples, especially in the angelic realm, where we see God sitting on His throne, you see cherubim and you see seraphim, the throne guardians,
Yeah.
right?
They
Well,
look
God had
scary.
His own throne on earth. It was in Eden. There was a high place.
Yeah.
Eden was His temple. Around God's throne on the mountaintop, they had luscious garden. Well, if in the angelic realm God had seraphim, throne guardians,
Yeah.
well, the serpent could have been a seraphim that went rogue. Okay, so that's what I'm saying is that Adam and Eve, when the serpent came in and started talking, and I don't think it was a snake. I don't think it was a snake.
Yeah.
It was another being.
It never says snake. It says serpent.
A serpentine type of features. I don't know what it is.
that walked.
But that walked and had, it said it was cunning, smart. It probably had special abilities.
Had a sharp tongue.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that it was a throne guardian, perhaps like what in the angelic realm, a seraphims. Perhaps it was a seraphim. But so what my thing is that when it starts to talk, why wasn't Eve startled? Because you know what? They were used to it. Adam and Eve were in the garden. They would see seraphim and cherubim. They saw this on a daily basis. One of those seraphims, one of the throne guardians,
was deceiving her,
went rogue and deceived her. That's all it was.
Because I can imagine that Eve probably talked to this
on a daily basis.
This seraphim before, maybe once or twice, like, hey, whatever.
How's it going today?
I'm just saying that,
in the seraphim,
but this time
we're up here worshiping God.
The seraphim comes and just wants to deceive and trick you.
Yeah, well, perhaps the seraphim, right, it rebelled. It wanted to be like God. I want to have my own throne. I want to be worshipped. I want to have it. That's what it brought. Deception.
Yeah.
It was in rebellion.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
God allowed it. And it goes back to the thing we're talking about, which, like we talked about earlier, like God allowed it for a reason, because because it's inevitable. We need to have that darkness, or that, the reason to go away from God, a reason to
there has to be free will has to be introduced.
Yes.
Free will has to be introduced.
In order for us to freely choose God out of love.
Yeah.
Do you think he sent that?
No, I don't think. I think the God's angelic beings, or his beings that he has in his throne in the angelic realm, also his family. That's his family because he created them. They also have free will.
It had to take a different.
They have free will.
Too, though.
They have, but
it had to have taken the form of a serpent, because they don't look serpenty.
Who?
The seraphim, whatever.
Oh, we don't really know how they look. How
describe them.
Yeah, I know.
But and it doesn't sound anything like a.
Well, I know,
because there's the ones with what is it? Hundreds of eyes and wings that cover its
wheels
feet
and stuff. That
a
lot of those were that's perhaps the cherubim.
Yeah,
but in the Bible, in the Garden of Eden, God places a cherubim with a flaming sword at the entrance. Yeah. Here's we don't know what abilities these angelic beings have. They might have their own different shift forms. When they're in the angelic realm. They could probably shift to their original state.
Yeah.
When they come down to earth, God said, "Hey, you're going to be on the earth. Guess what? You're going to be standing with a sword. I want you to have change into a form, like physical form." Yeah, we don't know, but it does say that the angels, seraphim, we know they have bodies. Yeah, it's not a physical body like ours, like matter, but they do have form. They have a physical body differently, but they do have bodies. That's why I don't want to say like, oh, they're spirits. Yeah, but spirits have bodies. Demons don't. But spiritual beings have some different type of spiritual body that it is still, you can still see it moving. So but it's in a different state. And it's in a different way of seeing it, in a different dimension, but they have to have something. Yeah, anyways. But yeah, that's one thing I've always kind of wondered, is like, Eve wasn't startled. She wasn't afraid of the serpent.
Yeah, because if she was afraid, she probably would have ran away.
Yeah,
or the animals spoke, and that's another reason you wouldn't be scared. Or they had some type of communication with them.
Yeah. If animals spoke, then why did they stop speaking?
Well, we talked about the Garden of Eden, and it was pretty interesting. A lot of fun topics we can dive into. There's so much more we talk about, but I think that about wraps it up. I mean, we talked a lot, some good stuff, but thank you guys for watching. We had fun. It was lots of fun.
Yep. Good topics.
Just be on the lookout for our next video, next podcast. We got just a lot more coming your way, so stay tuned.
Sit down, put the headset back on. Let's chat a little bit. I ate the strawberry, and I put it right here, and I wanted to you know what I was going to do? I was going to eat a strawberry every time it went off camera. and at the end of the video, we could put, how many strawberries did John eat?
Yeah, that apple back there is rotting. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
I want to do it that way, too. Where are you going to put that in you understand?
Yeah, but that's like a whole different thing.
Yeah, I know.
We're not saying not to do that. What we're saying is,
where are you going to put that
podcast.
in the podcast?
My turn.
Beep,
beep, beep,
you're not-
beep, 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 beep.
The way we did the first episode and the second episode, where we talk about something nerdy at the end. I'm sorry, John.
No,
I know
you're
what you
fine.
mean, but that's kind of what I'm alluding to. That you're kind of alluding to. No, or am I? Or
Hey,
are you talking about
let
something
him
different?
talk,
Go.
man.
My turn?